Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, and 5 co-accused back in the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court. It's going to be for bail today. Our team are still there. Senior reporter Silindelo Masikane is at the court for us, awaiting the arrival. Let's take you back, though, to Pule Letshwiti-Jones, who has been keeping an eye out at the police station. Pule, hello, let's come back to you again. So it's always difficult to tell when the accused have arrived, but what have you seen, what have you heard? But it's 12 minutes away from 9. I imagine they must be there if they haven't already made their way from police station to the courtroom.
Good morning, Gareth. What I can tell you is that it's still quiet in terms of the supporters from Bloemfontein Celtic branch from Tembisa, and of course the family members who would be supporting or rather coming here to see the court processes as they unfold. I believe they would be on the other side where my colleague Silindelo Masikane is currently stationed. However, what I can tell you is that we've seen Dr. Nandipha, of course, appearing and coming through this entrance here where she was escorted by an entourage of police vehicles, and we did see her coming in. The only kind of description I can give you, Gareth, right now is that she was wearing about white greyish boots. Of course, we cannot show beyond this point where the gate is currently closed, but you can see on screen those are the police officials who were part of this process of ensuring that she be escorted and taken into this entrance here. This is where I believe processes will then unfold. From there onwards, she will be appearing before the magistrate court, her and the other co-accused. You can just see it's quite strict and tight security measures being implemented here. Security officer only opening the gates, allowing those who are working to come in. Once a vehicle then goes inside, he then closes the gate. The media has been asked to actually be on the other end of the street and not beyond this point. But we can confirm that she has, of course, arrived here at this entry point where she was escorted by about 3 police vehicles, of course.
And it's, of course, a huge interest, not just nationally, but internationally as well, beyond the police and extra police on the ground there as well. There's been a lot of concern about the safety of the inmates themselves, and I imagine police making sure that, and this is exactly why all the media having to stand across the road, not that the media is the threat, Pule, of course, but not wanting to give away exactly where they are in the police station and what their movements are as well. So do you get a sense then that everything should be starting on time? We were told 9 o'clock this morning. I imagine if they're there already, we're on time for court to begin at the top of the hour.
Yeah, definitely, Gareth. I get a sense that things should be starting on time. She's not late. She's about 9 minutes before the magistrate court would usually start operating. I believe that everything is in order right now. We do understand that there's also other colleagues of international media houses who've made their way here. So we're expecting a very full courtroom as well. And we're expecting, supporters of the Bloemfontein Celtic Tembisa branch to make their way here, and family members of the late Katlego, who, by the way, still want answers as to how one of their own was mysteriously killed. We do know that there was an autopsy report which gave out details in terms of his tragic death, but beyond that, the family still wants justice and answers. But I'm just going to throw it to my colleague Silindelo Masikane, who will give us a brief description of what's happening on her other end. Sli, maybe you can just tell us how things are looking like on your side at this particular moment.
Well, Pule, with the arrival of Dr. Nandipha and the co-accused, it does seem as though we are on schedule to start with the bail applications on time. However, there is a development in terms of what is going to transpire inside court. The media, of course, arriving quite early in order to be able to set up their cameras and recording equipment. And we've just received a letter, a notice, an addendum from the Office of the Chief Magistrate. It is addressed to all the media houses, and it goes through in terms of what is allowed to happen for the bail applications, in terms of what the media will be able to record or not record inside court. Now, the issue is coming up in terms of the fact that it does seem as though the media will not be able to take the bail applications live. I'm going to read from this particular notice. It begins by saying, with regards to the permission granted for access to and coverage of the court proceedings, in the above cases, your attention is hereby drawn to the peremptory conditions attached to the said permission. Live recordings, audio visuals of the proceedings will be allowed with regard to all the preliminary appearances of the accused and any additional accused that will or may be added as the investigations proceed. On the days of the hearing of the formal bail applications, no live recording of the proceedings shall be permitted. This includes the testimony of witnesses called, the testimony of accused persons, and the respective cross-examinations that will follow. The live recordings of the bail proceedings will only be allowed after all evidence has been adduced. The closing arguments by the state and the defense teams may be recorded. It will also be allowed when the court or the magistrate delivers judgment with regards to the bail applications. Now, this is a letter that was literally just handed to us as the media. There was no consultation, and we don't know exactly where it comes from. And so we are trying to get some clarity on whether this particular letter is going to go ahead in terms of what it states, or whether we will be able to perhaps make legal representations as the media.
Yeah, so that's coming in just a few moments ago, and I'm sure we're going to leave you to go ahead into the courts and get hold of the court authorities, the court clerks, if you will, try and find out why this decision has been made as well. Reporters Silindelo, Masikane on the steps of the Bloemfontein court and also near the police station for us. Pule, Letshwiti-Jones, we're on the story, all the angles, coming up with Newslink in a few minutes from now with Tumelo Motetwane.